History's ultimate blunders. This could be funny. Is Brit Monkey any good? Quick check.
The butterfly effect is a concept in chaos theory which asks the question, to what extent can a deadly torrential hurricane be caused by something as small as an insect flapping its wings several weeks earlier?
No chance, right? I believe that none of it. And every single thing that happens to you is because of the amount of effort you put in. And it's 100% determined. Like, for example, Elon Musk did work billions of times harder than all of us. Poor people are bad people. It feels like weird to say, but yes, if you're poor, you are a worse person because you didn't work as hard and you're probably morally corrupted. There's a direct link. Finally, some truth. Get this man a Republican nomination. Nepotism's not real. It's just lucky that the sons of CEOs make great CEOs of their dad's company. That's luck. That's not even luck. That's skill. Wait, my worldview is falling apart. No, it's not even genetic, because that would imply it was out of their hands. It's not genetic. They just happen to work the hardest, but not by luck. You don't get it. Read more, study more. As a poor person, I can vouch for this. So you're saying you're a bad person. You're saying, as a poor person, I can vouch that I'm a bad person. All right, cool, thanks. That's awesome. You have confirmed my worldview. And now I have an example, so I don't need to learn any more data. History's greatest mistakes.
Famous mistakes throughout history. Russia.
Man, he says Russia. Maybe I'll talk about this. I gotta say, this is a pretty common theme throughout history, but Russia is the source of like every conqueror's mistake because they always want to invade it. Just don't do it. Just ignore Russia. Who gives a shit about cold ass, frozen ass, potato filled Russia? Everybody goes into Russia and they blow up their whole shit. That's the most repetitive mistake throughout history. Funny.
Or Blockbuster turning down the offer to buy Netflix. These are fun dinner table facts that are well known to the public.
I mean, Yahoo turned down the offer to buy Google. And then in 20 years, they're going to make a video about how Atriarch turned down the opportunity to buy Fartcoin. That's exactly right. And it'll be considered one of the greatest blunders of all time. The fact that I missed the Fartcoin train will be, literally everyone else will be generationally wealth. And the fools who thought it was stupid will be under the poverty line.
But all was not well in the Cherry Hills Golf Club in Denver, Colorado. President Dwight Eisenhower was enjoying a nice game of golf one afternoon when he suddenly complained of indigestion, and Eisenhower was soon hospitalized in—
I'm sorry, this reminds me of something that I have to tell you guys about. I have to tell you about this. We're pausing in the middle. I have to tell you about this, and I have to find you an audio clip. This blew my mind. I was... Oh, it's going to be hard to find this. You're going to have to give me 1 second. But let me set the stage. This is Alexei Navalny, okay? If you don't know who he is, he's probably the fiercest political opponent to Putin in Russia. He's now dead, understandably. But he spent years and years and years trying to reduce corruption in Russia, to run against Putin, to expose corruption. He had an incredible YouTube channel, which I highly recommend go check out some of those videos, where they did one of the most brilliant pieces of like anti-corruption expose for the public, where they would literally show like Russian ministers with like $1 million watches and then their official salary. They would be just like, one thing I super highly value is finding a way to take something complex and making it understandable to regular people who are just busy. Okay? He did that with Russian corruption. He made it understandable to regular people enough they felt motivated and angry enough to actually vote against Putin, which is very difficult because it's very demoralizing, right? I mean, he controls everything and everything's corrupt and you just feel like, I don't give a shit. It was remarkably effective. It's one of his most brilliant aspects, I think, is the ability to like do a wide scale, using the internet, tell a story, a counter narrative to the official one. It's very cool. Anyway, obviously, because of this, there's a lot more I can go about Navalny, and maybe I should do a whole video on him, but I'll do a quick one here. Because of this, he was targeted by Putin, okay? Obviously, Putin wanted him killed. And 1 week after a particularly good video had been uploaded, got a few million views exposing corruption, I guess Putin had had enough, and it authorized him to be killed. So Navalny, at the airport, drinks some tea, and he's photographed drinking this tea, and people think the tea was poisoned. We don't know exactly what happened. He gets on the plane, And while he's on the plane, he starts to feel a little unwell. He starts to feel a little off. Now, I knew all of this, okay? But I'm interested in this guy. And so I bought his autobiography that he wrote before he died. He died in prison, by the way. I bought his autobiography, and I was listening to it. I do audiobooks on flights. I was listening to the audiobook in his own words on the flight back from Japan. And he says a sentence about his world-famous nerve agent Novichok poisoning on a flight that I could never in a million, billion, trillion years have expected. And I'm going to pull it up for you. He says a sentence that I don't think you'll ever expect. I'm going to mute it till I find it. Yeah, I found it. Okay, here it is. Listen to the whole part, all right? This is so wild. Remember, this guy is like one of the most insane political figures in all of Russia, and he's talking about his real life or death experience.
My mood, already great, gets even better as I look forward to 3.5 blissful hours of complete relaxation. First, I'll watch an episode of Rick and Morty, then read. I delve into my backpack, take out my laptop and headphones, open the Rick and Morty folder, and choose a season at random, then an episode. I'm in luck again. This is the one where Rick turns into a pickle. I love it.
Dude, my jaw dropped on the plane. I was like, had tears in my eyes. It was so out of left field because the first 15 minutes of this is the opening chapter is him talking about his like brutal fight for corruption and what it all means. And then it's just the Pickle Rick episode of Rick and Morty pops out. And so as he's watching Pickle Rick, he starts to feel the nerve agent destroying his brain. He's like, my heart feels fine, my legs feel fine, but I feel like my entire brain is being DDoSed. And he's watching Rick and Morty Pickle Rick. It is insane. What a world. It's so beautiful. It's so wild. It's as if the episode itself rotted his brain from within. Maybe he didn't have a high enough IQ to understand it. Is it possible? Is it possible the reason he collapsed in this seat is because he couldn't and it wasn't Putin's fault at all? Anyway, I had to share that with you, that it truly was like a incredible, an incredibly unexpected moment. Because I've known about Navalny forever. I mean, like, but I wanted to hear, his story about what happened. And it is a fascinating book, by the way. I do recommend it. I recommend the audiobook. Usually I don't recommend the audiobook, but I thought it was quite good. And it definitely exposes the corruption in Russia, which everyone knows about, but in more incredible detail. How did the vid remind you of that? He was talking about indigestion and not feeling well. And then I suddenly got a flashback to remembering Navalny telling the stewardess that he wasn't feeling well while watching Pickle Rick. He also pirated Pickle Rick. So yeah, good point. I'm not saying he deserved to be poisoned, but like, I can see why Putin was trying to keep the peace in his country. He wanted to stop crime. He didn't want people to pirate a great show like Rick and Morty. He maybe went too harsh with the death penalty, but anyway, also worth spoiling here. He did not die from that nerve agent. Incredibly, against all odds, as a miracle, survives, even though he feels the effects while on a plane that can't land, and then continues fighting against Putin, and then eventually is jailed and died in prison, which is horrendously sad, but he is inspiring to many. Do you think he finished the ep? Well, he mentioned it was one of his favorites, so I assume he's watched that ep many times, as we all have. I can't imagine any of us goes even a few days without rewatching Pickle Rick to understand its deep nuance. Anyway, all right, play this.
In the late evening. The diagnosis? A massive...
Okay, so catching back up, Eisenhower, president at the end of World War II, on the golf course, gets sick, heart attack. Boom.